Well, welcome back, folks, and what have we here? It's a branded Millicamp tiny box, winged its way over from China. There's a dosing cup and some instructions. And it shows it being put into a burner. Luckily enough, they included downloadable instructions, because to tell you the truth, I don't exactly know what this does. It's a cylinder with mesh at the top and bottom. It's well made, it's branded. Oh, why didn't I try that before? What's that? What does this do? Nothing. Aha! It is basically carbon felt with a screen inside. I've seen people adding carbon felt into the well of their Trangia burners. But this is actually called, if we read it off the instructions, an automatic burner core fire control assist cylinder. 15mm for camping aluminium alloy alcohol stoves, low flame cooker with flame controller. That doesn't tell me anything. Looking up similar devices on places like AliExpress, these seem to be a flame regulator. This one is supposedly for rice cooking. It's especially designed, to quote, automatic rice cooker core for alcohol stoves, offering a hassle-free cooking experience, and it includes a 25mm alcohol measuring cup for precise fuel measurement. It says it's got a simple operation, no need for complicated adjustments. You just add rice, water, and alcohol. Light it up, and in 20 minutes, including the warming time, you'll have perfectly cooked rice with no need for constant supervision. It says it automatically adjusts the flame from low to high, ensuring ideal heat for cooking rice. It's made of aluminium alloy and it weighs 22 grams. And it says light the stove, and in 20 minutes, including warming time, your rice will be ready. Okay. The cooking process automatically adjusts the flame, so you don't need to monitor it. So it says slowly pour the alcohol into the flame controller and then light it. So we pour it into this, not into here. And the flame will automatically go through 3 stages: gentle flow, high flame, low flame. So what does this thing do? It doesn't really tell me, so the only way I can find out is to use it. Now I have a couple of questions for myself. Yeah, it fits inside. You dose this up with your 25ml of alcohol. You don't put any fuel in there. How does it work? How does it dose? So it must dose it out of the bottom and through these grooves into the bottom of the well of the burner, and then that will soak it up. I have got a very funny feeling that this is going to be a very slow blooming exercise. So let's introduce some fuel. Do we go? Well, some is always going to get down the side and into the well, by the looks of it. So the wadding, the carbon felt has taken that in. There is a little bit of spillage in the bottom and quite a bit round the burner. That's my clumsiness, of course. Just double check everything fits. Get it up nice and centre. So move it just slightly away from the camera. And we'll introduce this to a cheap stand just to hold it, as we can't really put anything over the top, I don't think. Now we've given it a bit of time to soak in to the wadding. Let's give this a shot and we'll see what happens. It says to fire this up. Okay. Let's switch off the lights. Now, as expected, there's a little flame in the bit of flame in the well. Okay, we have that lit. Let's see how long it takes to bloom, if it does bloom. Now, as there is a wick inside this regulator and there's also a wick inside the Trangia, I expect that there will not be much fuel going into the Trangia wick, as it will be held in by the carbon felt in the regulator or rice cooking device. That says already at 5.5 minutes and it hasn't bloomed. Shall we see if we give it a little gentle encouragement with a puff? No, I've blown it out. Now maybe though, if we put a pot or kettle on top, will that encourage a wider flame and maybe we could get it to bloom? What time are we at? 7:12. I think we might be getting a bloom now by the sounds of it. So 9:50, 9 minutes and 50 seconds. There we have it. So basically we have to adjust our method of using an alcohol burner with this inside. You don't wait for it to bloom, you just chuck your kettle on top and wait until it boils. Okay, so just over 8 minutes to boil the kettle. Now you have a good flame now, but it's probably stronger than your usual Trangia flame. Just get a side view of it. But what's the point? Now, 8 minutes to boil the kettle, about 10 minutes to get it to bloom with the help of the kettle being on it. Probably a higher flame than you would get with a regular Trangia. And I can see the point if you're using it to prepare rice or something that needs a slow boil, and then a simmer, because when this runs low on fuel, it will give it a little simmer afterwards. So for the Trangia, it seems to be something that would be, to say politely, very niche. It's well engineered, it's well made, but it's very susceptible to wind, and it takes a long time to get anything to a boil. However, we've still to try it on a titanium burner. Now here we have the titanium burner with the insert. I filled it with alcohol, and we've also had to put it lower down because it's a higher burner than the Trangia, and it will probably go out if I put the kettle on it. But let's see if we can get it started. Now, previously with the Trangia burner, we had a look to see if it would bloom before we put the kettle on. That didn't work, so at 7 minutes and 12 seconds we went and put the kettle on to see if it would help. So what we'll do is we'll do the same again at 7 minutes, 12 seconds. If it hasn't bloomed, we shall put the kettle on. Okay, and we'll see if it blooms at around about the 10-minute mark. Just about 11 minutes. Nope, it hasn't bloomed yet. It's trying to bloom, you can hear it, but that's already at 18 minutes. And 1959, we'll take this off. We'll see if we can snuff it out. Yes. Okay, basically we needed 20 minutes. The kettle only boiled just past 19 minutes. It took roughly 12 minutes for the kettle to boil. It took about 18 minutes for a twin jet burner such as this to bloom. One thing I will say, it tames this burner a little bit. As before, there was no way you could even snuff this out. It was a difficult burner to use. But yes, we usually don't mind the slow pace of alcohol burners, but this is too slow. Now, codicil is that probably if you'd put the kettle on at the beginning, it would be more heat and it would bloom quicker. Usually we prefer to have our burners bloom before we put the kettle on, but I honestly just cannot be bothered trying this again with a different method. With the Trangia, yes, it would work. You get a slow rising of the temperature at the beginning, then you get the full-on bloom and the full power, and then I presume as the fuel runs out it will lower the power. However, that's why we have simmer rings. We can control the burner much easier with a simmer ring than with this insert. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is it a viable product or is it a gimmick? Now remember, I get these to try and show you so that you can make your own mind up if you want to buy them. I don't get them sent to me or anything like that. I buy them out of my own money. And then maybe try to sell them on later on. Trouble is that most of the ones that I want to sell on are the ones that I have given bad reviews to. Oh well. Anyway, folks, that's the latest video. Tune in next week for something different, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.